Public comment, executive session, personnel, adjourn. Can I entertain a motion to accept?
I'll move that we accept the agenda, approve the agenda.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. FY 2023 budget.
Oh, this one's red. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, boy. Got his
I
red.
love red pencils. Pens. Huh?
One of the questions last time was under the auditor section as far as what we've done in the past.
Yep.
When I went back and did some of the research, it looked like it had been a budget line for several years at just 4,100. And I couldn't get any detail as far as what it was based on, like 10 hours for 3 people or whatever. When I looked at the actual expenditures, it was extremely low. It was like $456.19 for Crystal, and I think Rebecca had $450 as well. But it seemed so low, it didn't seem real.
Did Tom not put in for anything?
I didn't come
Okay.
up. So anyway, so I said, okay, stick with 4,100 and just raise it for what you think inflation would be. So I just came up with $6,500. We can base it on. There's 3 auditors, right? When they're elected?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was about 2.5 hours a week at $15 an hour per person.
Which I think that's what they were doing actually, is about that.
So then it's,
I think you're fairly accurate with that. No, I'm not positive, but
and then their expense line was $500 and it had been that way for years too.
Okay.
See. And then that brings us back to where we left off, which is right at the top of office building and ground. It's 137. And we left off at wages for janitor. So what I've done here, some of these, this is where we get into a lot of the stuff that are, these I just doubled relating to the new town hall, because we don't know what we're gonna be spending yet or how. So the 3,000 is essentially what we spent. It's about $250 a month for Roger for this location. I believe we're probably gonna need a service or something larger depending upon what we end up doing. If we keep this and have to do this occasionally, won't be, have to be weekly. There's also been talk, Joel's and Ellen and I have discussed sort of, there might be a need for sort of a facilities person that does a lot of different things when it comes to like lawn care for the building or, that's not in here, just so you know, but that's started to be talked about. Like there may need to be a building person. And perhaps they'd be part of the road budget that could then do all of the buildings if, you know, probably not the wastewater because they do a lot of that themselves. And it's a whole nother
They take care of their pump stations and stuff, I believe.
So where I started with that was I took what we do now and doubled it, essentially. Thinking if we stay at the minimalist, if we go with a service or if we stay with Roger, it's probably gonna come into that range somehow. If we start looking at a facilities person or a maintenance man.
Well, that's a whole nother position.
Right, and so that's not in here.
Right.
I just want to bring it up to you that there's been several options discussed as far as what may be necessary. I think right now it's get in there, figure out what we need at that point and don't try to.
Yeah, and see if
Right, because
Roger will let us know if that's too much for
Right.
him and we need to take and seek elsewhere and
right, or if we need a different, yes.
well, I think
bed it out. Right?
you're above and beyond one single person cleaning that building over there.
Right.
I mean, that's my personal opinion. I mean, it's just, you know. and taking care of it, you know, there's
especially we go from 1 bathroom to 3 bathrooms.
exactly, you go from, right, and it's not, there's some logistics there that are involved too. It's, your downstairs bathroom, you have to go all the way down and around, so you're gonna clean the downstairs at one point and upstairs at another point, I would think. You might not do it all same day.
Right. All right. Office supplies. So let's see, so I bumped that by 3,000 to 7,500 because in addition to whatever we need here, which I figured would just be lateral over there, but then anything new that we may need regarding small furniture items, small chair items, not big items, but more sort of that things that just we haven't thought through yet as far as,
Pop-up things.
yeah.
I think as
Things that
far
are
as-
gonna pop up as we go into.
And don't necessarily need to be a huge thing and
Yeah.
but
computers have just been upgraded. We should be good there, right?
yeah,
I
that
mean,
budget's
as far
the
as
same.
that,
That budget
yep.
stayed the same.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know until we start moving in and see.
There's some things like that. I haven't spoken to the plumber over there yet, but we have to have like a water cooler. And I think that's a code issue that Eric was talking to me about. It's like a real water fountain. There's a spot for 2 of them. And so I was like, well,
Gonna do a water fountain instead of the bubbler.
that's the part I don't know. That's the thing we have to find out what's required. In the plan, I can't determine whether it's something like a hardwired water fountain.
I can't
That's a
remember
code
what we
thing.
did there.
There's a spot for 2. It almost looks like, a high one and a low one.
Well,
But those are the types of things that need a
I
grant.
just know that in a municipal setting that water cooler's gotta be hooked to a GFI is the only requirement.
Oh, okay.
Or GFC, GFCI rather, if you wanna be technical.
So janitorial supplies I took out. We rarely use it and just put whatever we need here into office supplies.
Okay.
Building maintenance, I bumped up to 5 because I thought, and it's not for the new building, it's actually for this building. Is there something we're gonna have to do once we start pulling stuff out of here to prep it or not prep it or prepare it to whatever's
Honestly, don't know yet, cause I don't think
Right.
we really.
We haven't
that
discussed
over
it.
yet.
I think, so hence
Yeah.
the contingency is the right
Yes.
thing to do.
Right,
Yep.
right. And I don't think it would be a lot, but you never know.
Right.
What this might end up being. All right. Office equipment, I left that pretty much the same, just rounded it up to 10,000. The subscribe services and the IT, so those are left them where they were from last year. I've sat down with Chuck and we've gone through and pretty much kept everything the same.
Okay.
And we do want to start migrating more to subscribe services, which basically means like Office 365 on the cloud. We've started to use that between Megan and I, and we have 1 other license. And I'd like to get 2 more licenses, but they're minimal. It's $300 a year, I believe, per license. Because what it's done is we now have a central place for all of our files, all that stuff. And the 2 extra licenses, I would like, it'd be great if Joel and Darcy could have them, because then wherever they are, they can just plug in without a lot of extra infrastructure on their end. And they can start,
You just log in like you're doing
Grant.
Outlook and,
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's all the same. And then they can have a place to do repository of those things. And I was really disappointed. I had hoped we had gone down this whole path with ARPA funds, that they were available for increased cybersecurity, which is true, except if there's a little fine print there. But we had gotten a whole thing that we really could have applied the ARPA funds to all the new server stuff we're doing for that building, because it's all enhanced. But the only way that applies is if you have a revenue loss, which we do not.
no,
So I was disappointed in that. It would have been a
we
savings
can't
of
use
about 10 grand.
the burden on the taxpayers is revenue loss because of the bond.
You should see the formula you have to fill. They finally put out some guidance and it took a long time, but we were
The cost
close.
of the bond
but we
is a
didn't-
revenue loss.
Yeah. All right.
I tried.
The bank service charge, we just raised to what we're spending. It's a few extra dollars a month for the direct deposit and the additional things we're doing so that people get their direct deposits and the online pieces. PEG Access TV, that's pretty much the same. The contract we have now ends in, I think July. Yes, July. And so I put a little in there just for an extra. They haven't come out with any new pricing. The LCC, it's all based on our new rates. Property casualty, yes, so that includes, I did a couple things with the insurance. I increased the deductible to 5,000. It had been previously at 1,000, so that saved us money. So that when we added the $1 million building, it pretty much evened out, which is great. Let's see, the legal fund. So this goes back to the same idea I followed with the accounting, where it was always at one line and we would use it. Whatever was left was put into the fund. This I broke in between the legal fees we've been spending a year, which hopefully would go down a little bit, but that's what that 17,000 is. That's roughly what we've been spending on Fisher and Fisher.
Gotcha.
With and the 10,000 to go into the legal fund because it's pretty low. It's at 1,500, I believe. You'll see on the page, the last page after the budget, there's the fund sheet. That shows what we have now in there. Here it is.
Legal fund, is that it right there?
Yeah, so
right
it's
here.
$1,500 right
The
now.
balance, it says 250, or am I looking at the wrong one?
156038,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
as of June of this year.
June 30th.
I'm looking at the wrong, 2020, sorry.
So it seemed wise to start increasing that again, especially the,
Upcoming possibilities.
yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, and then the legal posting, so there's, right now, I have the sense that when we do like bids and all of the warnings and all of that go into the papers, they're going to that line, so I broke it out, so we could actually start capturing what that costs us a year. And the way I came up with 7,500 is I went through our AP and picked the Bennington Banner, the Vermont News Guide, and then the Vermont Shopper that we used for a while, and totaled what we spent in a year. And it was that. And it should be apples to apples with the upcoming year because we have the elections and we have all the warnings. So everything felt copacetic that way.
So between, the legal fund professional services went from 20,000 to 10,000, but we added the 7,500 and the 17,000 for legal postings and legal fees.
Yeah.
Yes, yep. Yes.
So that's an increase of 14,500 across all three, if all three of those things were previously covered under the one line item.
Right. The fund and the legal fees were, for sure. All right, ground maintenance, I left that as it is. Now, we're saving money using our current lawn mowing service, which is great. So I left it as is for a couple reasons. One, we had talked about earlier for the maintenance for the trees in town. That could come out of that line for some of and for the cemetery work, for the additional tree works there, if we want to go there. And it would be an option if we needed additionals, like a maintenance person and we didn't go to the road. So I didn't change it.
And aren't we under contract with our current lawn care for 2 more years?
Yes.
Yeah,
Right, okay. I thought so.
I don't remember if it was 2 or 1, but yeah.
I knew, well, he's only done it for 1, so
There's 2 more
there's
seasons.
2 more seasons on there. Okay.
Was that a locked in rate though? No,
I think he has
A fuel surge.
a fuel surge, right?
Something.
yeah, I don't think there was an increase in
It was
mowing.
steady. Yeah, it was
Right,
pretty steady.
okay. I was just
The
trying to
other thing that
remember.
comes out of here is the shoveling for the walks here, which is around $2,000. Okay, here for the office alarm system, again, I just doubled it thinking we're gonna have to have this one and over there until we figure out what's going on. Office electricity, that building should be a lot more energy efficient, I'm hoping, but it's larger. So when I tried to figure out, can it not double? It kind of didn't play out.
Yeah,
Same for fuel for the office. Now, the tank, so the 1,000-gallon tank that we're just getting for that is costing, and we got a good rate. It was $2.20, and it was around 2,200 to fill it. No, 2,000.
yep.
800 times 220. What's that?
Yeah, it's 80%,
Yeah,
so.
1760.
Yeah.
So that feels on top of what this runs usually, right? No, right. Telephone, the office, this I didn't completely, so the way I kind of did this was, my thought is all these numbers are gonna move to there, but we'll have to probably keep at least one here.
Yeah, have to have one line.
And they're
for that
about
system.
$50 to $100 depending upon a month, so I just added $1,200 to the telephone to get to 6. Cell phones. So, right now, and this is a question for you all. Right now, it's very hard for us to determine easily how much we're spending on cell phones. There's not a lot of usage. So when this contract is up, it'll definitely make sense to really review it. And that contract will be up next Octoberish, September, Octoberish, to really understand who needs them and do we have extra coverage where we don't need it.
Yeah.
So my thought here was right now, everyone's being charged to their individual expense line. Here, I just took the total, which for Verizon is about $500 a month. And then we have AT&T, which is about $225 a month. And I combined them.
That's for how many phones total plus a hotspot?
What's the hotspot? So that's for 3 phones, and then I could do a quick count.
Well, I call it a hotspot, but I know Tom's got the thing so we can run the,
Yes.
but I may not be calling it the right name
No, I know it is, you're right. He uses that for his laptop and the.
in the shed down there.
Yep. Yes,
That's the only service really that reaches down that little hole.
yeah. But it's, for the Verizon, it must be 9 or 10. I could look
Okay.
really. Everyone's got,
So just
yeah.
people,
In the field, it makes sense. Joel and
Right.
Darcy, all them, it's in here that a lot of people just, I rarely use mine.
well, initially we did that because of people working at home with the
Or COVID
laptops
and
and
stuff,
COVID
right.
and all that. And now that things are evolved in that situation, then yeah, it's a good thing to look at again.
Well, I don't remember adding very many cell phones to our
I thought we only added 3, but I
maybe,
can't remember.
but maybe.
Did add some
We
Yeah,
did.
with the grant, with the Elger grant.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. I remember with the grant. Thank you.
Well, like you said, we'll have to look at use and see what we can cut, because if we're not using them,
Yeah.
we need to get them off of here. They're pretty expensive.
All right, so Parks and Recreation I added. And the number's arbitrary, so if you don't agree it, change it, take it out. But here's the reasoning. One, they've been doing a heck of a lot. And they don't have any help from the town when it comes to stuff like that.
Right.
My thinking was a little bit where they need it, and then stuff for like the town picnic. Yourself and Jen and I believe a couple citizens donated stuff out of their own.
Well,
That's something you want to carry forward, you could come out of this line.
Mike?
I'm all for a budget for.
I thought you were gonna say
Parks and Rec.
something.
No, I'm all for that budget and I think that I don't have a problem with $5,000. I think the Park and Rec Committee has, for all intents and purposes, has done a tremendous job in a pretty short period of time. And I think they have some goals, and I think the days of volunteers and people doing stuff are gone. So I think if we're gonna continue having them do what they're doing, we need to give them a little bit of money. Just my opinion.
I'd like to see a real focus on volunteerism, because that's really what brings the community together. And I'm not against the budget line. I'm not against the budget line at all. But did they ask for 5,000?
No, that was me. I just picked a number, and the way I came up with it was what was budgeted for the picnic was around $1,000. And then I know they looked into a couple grants that had small matching, so that's where and then extra. So again, like I said,
Also the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah, the porta potty.
yeah,
The bathroom increases use enormously, especially in the warm months when people go down to that park.
yeah,
Yep.
and that's a good point, because right now that's the
Yeah. And then what is it, like $250 a month?
125 is what we
120 a month.
currently use.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Still. Yes.
So, yeah, I guess I'm okay with the 5,000. I was just hoping that we could cut that, start them with a smaller budget and maybe grow into a larger budget. But I also don't want to disincentivize volunteerism, because we really got to get
Well, yeah.
town folk to
we've gotta-
step up and volunteer for these things.
But we gotta
Unfortunately, the
balance.
same 5 people show up every single time. And I would be one of them.
Well, yes, that's true. That's true, but that's also during COVID. So as we come out of that, it might change. We didn't have very many people show up at the town picnic either. So I'm thinking that maybe
I'm not talking just the town. picnic.
When you can't get people to show up for free food, how you gonna get them to show up for work?
yeah.
No, seriously, think about it. If you can't get them to show up for free food, you can't get them to show up.
Well, that's
for
true, but
work.
there were
How many
reasons.
years ago did our kids play baseball? I can remember being at the park running the concession stand. My kids weren't even playing.
Yep.
Many nights. So
Yeah,
it's very hard to get people to show up.
yeah. No, it's, I ran the baseball program and coached 3 teams.
I know you did.
I was running 7 nights a week. That was my life, was the kids here, so whatever. It's those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are way gone.
Just as someone who works with Parks and Rec, could I make a quick statement?
Absolutely, Rebecca.
This is Rebecca, right? I think the budget line is not to pay people to be on Parks and Rec, so it's still
No.
completely volunteer.
Yes.
Run.
Right.
But not having matching dollars for grants does disqualify us for quite a number of opportunities that help us continue. We've brought a lot of use down to that park, and it would be nice to have something. And even if maybe it doesn't even get spent most, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But to have that matching fund sitting there would be helpful.
Yep.
Yeah, that was, that's probably the biggest reason to have it, is the matching funds.
Well, that support the group of volunteers that are working on ideas.
right.
So,
All right, so for the office sewer use line, I back and forth with Darcy, and she is setting up the new town hall with one. Because we had to answer questions about its use and stuff that we weren't really sure just because of COVID and things like that. So we're starting at 1 EU. It may have to be reviewed later if that's changed. But this reflects what we currently pay for this building the wastewater, or the one other lamp. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the new town hall. Nemrick, that one we cut in half. That 10,000 pretty much covers all of the maintenance things and yearly costs that we have to incur with just by using the system. So it went down. It was great.
Does that include the assessor?
No,
Okay. And I mean, I'm referring to the assessor that we use today, right? We use listers, but we also use an assessor.
correct. Yeah, no, that's a separate line item in the list.
Okay.
Sick pay in general, I left that there.
Mhm.
All right, so fire charges, here again, this is for the phone line for the fire service. So there's gonna be one here and there'll have to be a new phone line for.
You're talking the alarm, correct?
Yep, that was right there. The fire rescue dispatch, that's the dispatch services for the fire and rescues. That's the same. The Vermont Fire Rural Protection, no one really knew what it was and didn't look like we used it in the last, so I just took the $100 out.
Okay.
The rec department, I kept as is. I don't know who makes the decision as to if it will be used or not, but it's there, just like it has in the last couple of years.
So in our general fund balance sheet, there should be a positive balance under that rec department.
My understanding is that's whatever is for the summer program.
Right,
Yep, so we didn't use it last year.
right,
So I just carried the same amount forward.
right. So there should be a balance already in that
But
account.
that would have been the undesignated funds. that
Correct.
we
It was in the
reallocated already.
undesignated fund.
Well, right, then that's what I was
Yeah,
That's what I was getting at, is that should have been carried over to our undesignated funds.
yes. The 911, that's all the same. Contracted services, there was discussion of wanting to possibly increase that, the number of hours, but I left it as it is. We discussed it here if you wanted to increase that. Running 5,000 to 6,000 a month.
What's the contracted service you're talking about?
Law enforcement.
Yeah.
Sheriff's
Okay.
Department.
Paying
All
for
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Is it 45 hours a week?
is it at 45? I thought it was at 35.
Yeah, I think it is 30.
I think it's 35.
Yeah. 34,
Or
35.
did we up it 2 hours? I think we upped it 2 hours, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah. So that would make it, what was it, 37?
Well,
I don't know.
we did a thing for a couple of months,
I guess we don't have to speculate.
and then
We'll get a definitive answer here in a second.
yeah.
But part of it went up. Remember, the rate went up.
Right.
Right.
Last year also.
Right.
So the hourly rate went up.
So
So
it's
it's been maintained the
30
same as more.
$45 per hour for 30 hours a week.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yes.
The rate went up and we kept the same hours.
Yeah.
And the couple hours you're talking about is when they were doing that other investigation,
Yeah.
we gave them clearance to
Yep.
do that.
And there has been numerous times that they've had to go over and they've called and asked, so I appreciate that they call and ask, absolutely, always.
So what is that math then? 30 hours a week at $45 an hour?
Yes.
That's 70,200 for 52 weeks.
Right. I think we should up that budget, in my mind.
At least to match the contract, right? Because we know it's going to be at least that, and then occasionally we'll go over. We might need 75.
Yeah. And I think there's a need for an increase in the services anyways, in my opinion.
And would,
Well, I want to be, I'm just to be realistic, just the contract that we have, if we keep the same contract, is going to be 70,000, which is more than the 65 that we're budgeting. So, if we were to.
That's from
But,
July to July, right? That's right.
Right, our contract's gonna, I mean, it's inevitable that the rate is gonna go up, so we're gonna end up with less hours of service.
Well, we need to argue on
don't
that
put
because
them
the
up.
rate went up something like 20% the last time it went up. So it shouldn't go up. They shouldn't go up again for a while, and we need to argue it. You can't go up 20% every year.
Right, but it's inevitable that
It'll eventually go up.
it's gonna go up.
But this year it better not because it went up.
I don't see it staying level funded, but.
The only thing I'm gonna say on that is everybody is going up with wages because they can't get people.
Exactly.
And so just to clarify, so it went up in 2019 from 40 over to 2020 to 45. It stayed the same this year.
So they didn't take an increase this year.
They didn't go, they stayed at $45 an hour.
Yes.
So it's inevitable
Yeah,
that,
they're gonna take.
Oh, yeah, it is inevitable that they will be at some point. But still 20% in 1 year, and it doesn't go up every year. When you go back and look at the one that went up before the 45, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that it's gonna go up. But I'm not saying it's gonna go, I'm not saying it's not gonna go up. What I'm saying is it shouldn't go up again until next year because of the 20% increase that it went up last time it went up. It was a 20% increase.
Right.
That's substantial.
it's,
However, we
it's
do have
more of a 10% increase when it went from $40 to 45.
That's 10%? Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It's
Yeah, it's
11, 12%.
12%, give or take, whatever. Yeah, it's not a 20%.
So I think we should go up to 75. I think we should raise it 10,000.
I agree.
Everybody else agree?
I totally agree with that.
So that's, the contract itself makes it 70 and then we're adding 5,000 for.
Just for, yeah.
Okay. All right, that brings us to animal control. The wages we went through already, and so the expense, that's what Leonard is anticipating for his expenses. And it does meet the business schedule. Just from use, nothing crazy, just mileage and,
He's actually doing a good job. He's doing his job.
yep.
So my question here, the only question I have here, Tim, is, under expenses, training and phone. Didn't we pull the phone? And not that it's a huge amount of money, cause it's only,
No, you're correct. I will, if we're gonna leave that, I will go back and subtract $500 from every
Just-
line that has it in.
okay.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've noticed so far. I just was curious. Okay, and that's totally fine. Not that it's a huge amount of money, cause it's not, when you're talking,
Yeah.
the numbers we're talking about. Okay.
And then the boarding fees, that's, oh, and a quick thing on the kennel. So, we still need to decide if we want to do a ballot article for that or put it through the budget. We got word back, I'm kind of delving out, but it pertains. We got word back from the CDC on the kennel, and they're asking for a materials list, which we thought,
They took care of, right?
yeah. So we decided, both Leonard and I, when we sat down and talked about it, that it's not worth doing now because of the timing that it would take. And he had already sort of figured out a plan B for this season. He got someone donated a what do you call it, doghouse to him that he's gonna rig to make it warmer. And then all he needs then to do is buy some fencing that goes around it in his garage. So,
Okay.
and he thinks that'll suffice for this season.
So I think, which brings us, I don't know if we want to get off task or not, but while we're talking animal control, let's talk about that kennel and get that off our board.
Okay, so,
I think.
okay,
Did we get a full quote back yet for what they wanted?
so where he's at is trying to figure out the concrete pad and the location.
The
So he-
location.
So he's figured out sort of where he'd like it to be, and one of them is at the road department, so he's gonna speak to Joel and see if,
Well, I think we need to put that on whatever it is. My opinion is to put it on as a ballot article and let the town decide whether or not they want that. And not let us,
I agree. Yeah, leave us out of that.
let the town decide whether or not they want to have that kennel And if they say yes, then it becomes our responsibility to find the location and a suitable place with our animal control officer, but
Okay.
that's my opinion.
I agree with you, because we're gonna go for, I think it's 30,000, correct?
What,
Be higher than that.
yeah,
gonna be higher than that.
whatever his, you know.
Whatever it comes up to be.
Whatever it is, it goes on a ballot article and then we
Right.
don't have to make that decision.
Okay.
Didn't mean to get off task.
Nope,
I'm
you're
sorry.
fine,
No, that's good, because
because we need to
All
do
part of
that.
this.
Well, we gotta talk about it anyway later on tonight, so we'll get it done now. While we're there.
okay. All right.
So I would put that on Thursday's regular meeting.
What's that? We're gonna talk about ballot articles
Yeah, if we
tonight.
choose, we can go into.
Oh, okay.
Some prepped that we can review.
All right, awesome.
We can just work, and then you're right, Angie, we'd have to circle back around it. and
Okay.
Approve it.
Yeah.
All right, health officer, all the same, stays the same. This is one though, I'll go back and take out the phone, so. We'll have $500 removed from.
Which there again, I've been working with Fred on a couple of different things, recently. And, Fred's doing a good job. He's on the Learn While You Earn program, which all of us, you know, when you come into a new, whether it's, you know, me when I came in as zoning or Leonard as the or the animal control officer or Fred as the health officer, but he's doing a really good job right now. So, I just want to make that statement.
Our emergency coordinator is all the same. Delinquent tax collector, the only thing, we don't need to do the 25,000 anymore because we've handled letting the system handle that now. The expense and training is for postage, so that goes into the common postage. All right, forest, fire, that's the same. Streetlights, I just bumped it up $1,000 for the new streetlight that's gonna go
Down
up there,
here.
town hall piece. All right, transfer station. All right, so this was all from Tom, the pieces that I supplied. The wages that we went over, that's all set. FICA, that's all calculated. Buildings, that's. I think he's planning on, got some roof work he needs to do on a little shed. Equipment and fuel, that's all, that's increased for the price of fuel. Property and casualty insurance, that's all same. Transfer building fund, that's the same. All of these things are pretty much things he's calculated based on.
Yeah, so his budget went up $3,000, so $4,000.
Yeah, 2%.
Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty comfortable with that.
The ballot articles, we can skip. The only thing I'm gonna say is you're gonna get an email from the rescue squad.
We got it.
We got it today.
Okay. They were in this morning and we went over their, I'm assuming she explained the situation. For the ballot articles.
Compensation.
Yeah, for the work comp.
Could you just know off the top of your head what we pay?
So the situation is, in the past, we have been giving the payroll numbers as if it was a volunteer organization.
Yeah.
And we were advised last year, passive, determined that like the fire departments and the ambulances should all have their own coverage. For whatever reason, the rescue squad was kept on our policy. So when I renewed it this year, they recommended they have their own policy. Because passive doesn't carry their liability. I guess that was the loophole. Regardless, they're no longer mostly volunteer, so their payroll is very significant. So if it would be around $27,000 to $30,000 that we would pay if it was kept on our policy. So there's two issues you have to keep in mind. One, they should have their own policy, which they're moving forward with. It's great. The other one is the cost. So that's the purpose of the email and for the ballot article.
Well, that's a tough one, because if they're not gonna be volunteer, they're turning into a business.
Well, there's a couple things as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to get into them tonight because I don't think that's.
No, we're on budget.
Right, and we're on budget. And I mean, and then without having a representative from the rescue squad here.
Right.
I don't want to open up that can of worms.
So,
So I do have a couple concerns, major concerns actually.
yes, so I just want to know what we were paying, 30,000 roughly.
If we were to
we do
move
it.
forward, what we've been paying is around $1,000.
Yeah, so it's a significant increase,
Yes.
So we
29,
go from $1,000 to 30,000.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So that grand is in this budget.
okay,
I've been working with them and not wanting to cut off that coverage until they're secure. So we're aiming for January 1st. Savings in the long run for us, but it's in here just in case something.
Yeah, I'm surprised
to
they're not
continue.
keeping a certain number of hours volunteer so they can keep that status.
They got, we'll sign it.
No, that's okay, I'm just talking aloud, that's all.
All right, so that brings us down to expenses. A lot of these are literally things that just are cost of doing business, essentially. The health insurance, that's the one I brought into one line last, so I have one here as a case. Megan currently doesn't have coverage and is sort of thinking she wants to go on next year, so that's the cover. And then the dental is 2,500 and the vision is 500 based on what we,
Yeah, the short-term dental and vision are all new, but health insurance was already there, right?
correct. It was underneath each person, like postage. You didn't get a true sense of costing unless you.
added it all up.
Budgeted for it, all right?
Yes,
So I-
yes, yes. So they're not up above. They're not, so it's not a double.
It's the same money, Bob. It's just in a different place.
Right,
Yeah, so that was where I was
Yeah.
going with the question is where's the other?
Yeah, so if you go up to, let's see, the town clerk or,
Oh, okay, underneath each role.
right?
Okay,
And
gotcha.
you'll see it's 0 now.
Okay, I got you.
So their line item's 50, that would jump it to 80.
All right, the generator expense, that's the fee that we help pay at the elementary school, maintenance.
So that,
We pay 50%, I believe.
that's maintenance at that school.
Yeah.
For shelter.
Do we still have that agreement in place? Doesn't that have to be signed every year?
Good question.
Because now the school doesn't belong to the town anymore. The school belongs to the SVSU.
Good question.
So that's something that should be,
Yep.
That should be addressed for sure.
Need to send
right?
a-
If we're
send a letter.
paying the, and I think it's a great thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I was involved when that whole thing was started and established. But if we're paying for the generator expense, I think we need to make sure that we have that building,
Still getting the,
we're still getting that building as our emergency shelter. That's right. So, I don't, do you remember, you were on the board when that was switched over. Do you remember that? Probably don't remember
I don't
that.
remember
I didn't
that.
think so.
no,
So I just think we should double check and make sure that that's still
And
an agreement. And I mean, that agreement should really kind of technically
Set.
be set in stone.
was there one to begin with?
I believe there was,
with the
Tim.
Pownal school.
Initially, years ago, there was when that generator was put in. But the agreement was between the Pownal School Board and the town of Pownal. Once that changed hands a couple years ago or whatever it was, and went to the SVSU, I think, if I remember correctly, I think there was an agreement still maintained.
I was on the new board as a one, and I don't ever remember them discussing that or seeing that.
So, right.
We really need to check
No, we
into
need to
that.
make sure,
Yes,
because,
I sat on the board for 1 year once they combined.
right.
And then I got off, and that was,
joined us.
yes.
Lucky you. You're so lucky to be out of that other shit. You got a slow leak? Just wondering.
The safety inspection, I left that as is. The county tax, I raised a little bit. I believe they said it was gonna go up 3%. But there was some fluctuation because of COVID. That effect,
Huh.
for what the rate was, so that we actually probably could get away with leaving at the 23. 21.8. Budgeted 23 and it was 21.8. That leads me to believe that it's gonna be 23,000 this year, so I'll change that back to 23. All right, the Glebe rent, left that as is. Oak Hill Cemetery Poor Lot, left that as is. The local agreement, which is also a revenue line, so it literally zeroes itself out, but we made it to what we're currently receiving for that, so it's 8,500 instead of the 9,500. The Bennington County Regional Commission, we just got that, so that's the amount that we can expect. Same for Vermont League. Payroll, that's based on the payroll. Same with munis. PCL employment insurance, work comp, same thing. That's the line with includes the 8,000 for the short-term interest, left that as is. These are all the rates for the bond. So that's the sewer bond, and then the next one is for the new town hall. And then the website, I decreased by 3,000, so this covers the fees now for hosting and the Weebly and things like that. And then the contingency, I left the same.
And a lot of that stuff right there is consumable. I mean,
The sewer bond zeroes itself out.
Right.
That's on the revenue side.
Right.
The municipal bond does not, because it's not a separate thing on the property tax. So this is how it's generated to the property tax.
that's where I was going, was a lot of that stuff we can't really mess with.
Correct.
I guess.
Correct.
So we upped it 10,000 for the sheriff, but we're taking out approximately $1,200, 1,000 on county tax, and then a couple of cell phones, 500 out of those lines, correct?
Yep. I could do the cell phones pretty quickly here, and I can give you.
So we're probably up like 12%, 13%.
It will be higher than that.
The unfortunate thing is there's some unknowns in this budget increases because of the new town office. And a lot of those, there's a bunch of expenses that are doubled, so to speak. Janitorial and different things. I mean, I know it's not a lot of money each time, but each time you double because you have two buildings.
Yeah.
I think
At
the
this time.
quicker we divest ourselves from this building, the better.
Right, but unfortunately, this budget here is gonna reflect that
Yep.
double
Right.
dipping, so to speak, and there's no way around that at this time. In my opinion, I think at the end of the year,
Right.
We have to budget for it,
well, but,
maybe.
Yeah.
right, we have to this year, but
Yeah.
what I'm saying, I think, Bob, at the end of this fiscal year, this budget's fiscal year, at the end, given if we do our due diligence, there should be quite a bit of undesignated funds
For the net following year.
for the fall.
Roll over. Yeah.
That's right. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know, because there's a lot of double, am I saying that right, Tim? Am I?
You're correct. The other thing though to keep in mind is that Also, there's none of the previous surplus being carried forward to this budget.
Right.
So you're gonna
Right.
feel that jump regardless. And that's a discussion for our ballot articles.
Right.
To cover the
Right.
municipal office building, but that's a big chunk. Like if we added 200,000 in here. The number would go down to 4% increase.
Right, it's a catch 22.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You never know what the upcoming year's gonna bring, so if you don't take and plan appropriately, then behind the 8 ball.
No, that's for sure.
And that's what's driving the biggest increase here is that we didn't use the undesignated funds to carry over to the following year.
Yeah.
Correct. There's nothing in there for that.
That's generally what we do, and that helps. Well, out.
So it's a 29% increase. Now, the only caveat to that is that's based on last year's grand list.
Mhm.
So I don't know what usually happens in that. But I think it generally goes up a tish.
A Tish and a Tash. Well, Tim, I think you did very well. Budget.
So just to satisfy my curiosity, if we applied the $200,000 undesignated funds to this budget, what would our increase be?
Just said, what, the 4% you said?
Oh, he was guessing at it.
Yeah, so let me get up there and I'll do it right now.
He gave us the accurate
Yeah.
one. I want to compare apples to apples.
Okay.
That's all. And it's not that hard, is it, Tim? Is it fairly?
No, I just have to pop the number in. Everything. I don't have a mouse, so I'm jumping around.
658 versus 616, right?
All right. And last year, last year you guys brought over 76,000, 40,68.
Yep.
This year there's 217, 483, 63. So if I was to apply that whole amount. Goes down to 4%.
Yeah.
Right. Now, an option, when we talk about ballot articles, if we use 200 of that for the municipal office fund, and we could apply 17,000. I don't know what let's see what that does. The reason, and I say that is because, we're being audited right now. That audit is occurring as we speak. We're pretty confident in that number, but just in case, once they get done. So my recommendation was to use 200,000, just in case it changed. It shouldn't change a lot, so that we wouldn't mess up the ballot article. So 17.
Right. So the ballot article that we're talking about is the ballot article to take $200,000 of undesignated funds and apply it to the town office.
Right.
Correct.
So there's this sheet in your packet.
Yep.
Just so that everybody knows.
Yes, and it's shall the town deposit 200,000 from the general fund to the municipal office fund for the construction.
So once again, that falls onto the taxpayers of what they're.
Here's the thing.
To the voters, okay.
Right, so you could go about putting it in the whole thing here and then in the municipal office fund, applying it down below. The difference is that's for the fiscal year 23 budget. If you were to take that route, which means it doesn't happen until July 1st, when most of the funds for that will have been necessary. If you do a separate ballot article, not only is it very transparent to the voters what's happening, but you can use it immediately as soon as the vote passes.
Oh.
So do you want to go over the ballot articles now? Is that where we're at?
Are you done with you're done, right? All
Budgets, yes.
right.
If we just do the 17,000, it brings it down to 27%.
So it drops 2%.
Yes.
Which the reality of it is the undesignated funds, if we used it all, really only drops it 25% because it's a 4% increase.
Right.
If
Right.
we use that.
Correct.
Yep.
So it drops to 25%.
But Tim, let me just ask a question. So if this didn't pass and we took the 217,000 and put it in the budget, you said we could take that $200,000 and move it down to where?
The municipal office fund, so what you do is it would not change this budget per se.
Right.
It's a different way to do it. It would still be higher, the 29% would not change, because what you do is you'd put it undesignated just like we did.
Right.
Right.
Then you'd say you're spending it down below in the expenses to the municipal office
We
fund.
would make a motion to move it from the undesignated fund to the municipal office fund, per the taxpayers
Right.
vote,
The more,
if that
what
passes.
I and I can send you the emails I've had with VLCT. They want the ballot article.
Yep.
It's a much better way to go.
Cleaner way.
And in our case, it allows us to use it in fiscal year 22,
Right.
which is to our benefit.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that. All right. So you want me to read these?
Well, so here's the thing with those, I can give a quick.
Okay.
These are what I have on this list. It's not all inclusive. So if there's anything you guys want to add, you can. These are coming from things we've mentioned in meetings and things that have been brought up, like the lister's email, which I printed out for you.
Yes.
That's on here. The elimination of the elected auditor. It's been, vacant for a year. Up to you if you want to choose to put it back on there to remove it. The town hall surplus, the town report change, which would allow us to just send a postcard to all the registered voters and then post it, the actual report on the website.
So how much would that save us?
So the last mailing of the town report cost $2,700 plus postage, which was 700 something. A postcard would be because it's literally, you're just saying, you're selling it to people, go to the town website, it's available. And the postage would be, I don't know what a postcard thing is, 25 cents or something.
That's what it is.
So that was $3,400 and that included the mix up where we had to resubmit.
So that was, the amount I gave you is the cost for the town report, because we didn't have to reprint the town report.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Just had to redo the address.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
I do too.
Personally, the town report change, I
I mean,
think.
that school's been doing that now for numerous years.
That's right. That's right. It's, saves a lot of money at the end of the year.
Yes.
I agree with all these.
And then the last one is for constables.
And I think, to be,
Oh, and then we'd have the kennel. We'd add one for the kennel.
the transparency here is we have a letter from the lister's office
Yes.
dated today, I believe,
Yep.
where the lister's office from the town of Pownal.
Yes, okay. Yep.
That letter that we received today is asking to eliminate
Their position.
their positions.
Right.
And they gave a which I think we should probably put that on our website.
I was just gonna say that, put it on our
Because-
website.
Because they gave a significant number of reasons to, eliminate that position.
Right.
It's absolutely nothing to do with the select board. It's coming directly from the lister's office. And they gave a pretty detailed explanation and reasons why.
Yep.
And kudos to them for doing it.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's, hey, it's, you know,
Came
this
to
is,
us, we didn't ask for it.
No,
so I think, I think that once again, that's not us asking, it's them asking. And they're the ones that are doing the job and they have a pretty significant number and some great reasons why to get rid of it.
And we've learned from the VLCT, this is happening in a lot of towns.
Yes.
There's a real good reason for it, and they itemize this pretty well, so I recommend.
That's what I mean.
you go out and read it.
And that's why I think we should put it on our website. So that, because they did take some pretty serious amount of time to itemize, there's a lot of information on there.
A lot of expertise and consistency that you can expect if you do change over.
Right.
And you don't have that reliability if it's elected, because they can change everything they get elected.
They want to post that in the two stores too, where we usually
right.
put things.
Yes, I
Just
think
so
we should, because that way people can read
They're
it
gonna ask questions and
and they can look up these.
Right. I think on our website is definitely where it should
Yes.
go. And then I think that's a great idea. We can have Megan post that in the
Two stores, yep, and on the window here. Absolutely,
And remember when we budgeted for that scenario as well.
right.
well,
We're covered either
Right,
way.
our budget's fine. Right.
Yep,
either or, so.
okay, sounds good. So you just have to wait to hear back from Leonard on the kennel, because that definitely should be put on the ballot. What's our time frame that we have to have that information by so we can get it?
Early January. So I'll
Can
read.
you reach out to him, please? I mean, I do see him every day,
And I
but
spoke to him yesterday about it. And well, the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is, as it relates to ballot articles, is the woodlot. So, we did timber cutting
Yep.
this
right,
last, and that earned us 38,000, which you're free to use as you choose. There is monies around 23,000 from the last time that
Yeah,
the timber was cut from the town woodlot.
And we got like 38 this time?
Yeah.
Yes.
38 and change?
When that cut was done, the fund was established for it, and it was segregated that the interest off that money be used to lower taxes, which is what's happened for it's years, 30-something years, but you can't use the money.
Right,
And the interest is like pennies.
right now.
So
especially.
the only thing I want to bring to your attention is if you should ever want to use that money for anything, you would have to put a ballot article out
To request it.
to change that.
so we had 22 and 38, that's $60,000.
So here's my line of thinking on that, guys, and whatever.
Sorry.
But yeah, stop clicking. You're the clicker.
No, no.
Oh yeah, 'cause Bob and I don't even have ours in our hand. Down. So, my line of thinking would be to get a ballot article started to be able to use this $60,000, because like you said, the interest is nothing to reduce taxes. We're not reducing taxes at all with the interest.
Kind of replace a portion of the undesignated funds.
But if
Right.
we take the $60,000 and we had access to the $60,000 potentially, maybe it would buy us access to the woodlots
Yes,
so that we could use them for recreation. Or
right.
we could use the 60,000 for undesignated funds to lower the tax rate. But right now, we can't do anything with that $60,000.
Right.
You can't do anything with the original 22.
22,
So
okay.
What happened this year, you could, because it's a separate thing.
So you're saying that we can only ask to use the 38,000?
Right now, you have the discretion to use that.
We don't have to ask to use the 38,000, then we could do that.
Because it's on a
I'm just
highlight.
I'm just thinking about, so about trying to acquire access to those woodlots. And if we had to pay somebody for a right of way, there's money that's potentially available to, without dipping into the coffer anymore.
Right.
It's, there it is. We have it, and that would be, in my mind, a pretty good use for that money.
But that was the whole thought process. I know 3 years ago when we were talking about doing the timber was to utilize the sale money to take in for access.
Well, you gotta,
It was thrown
but if
around
you have
now.
22,000 and you can't use, look at, if you have 60 grand versus 38,000.
Definitely.
You're way, you're better, whatever.
At that point, I didn't know about that.
I think we should put a ballot article on there asking to be able to use that 22 or whatever it is, $1,000.
Yeah.
And let the voters decide what they want to do with it. If they want to keep reducing their tax rate by 0.00001 cent, that's fine. Or use the money,
Right.
give access to the select board to use the money at our discretion. And my first line of thinking is trying to gain access to the property, but.
How much, yeah, I'm sorry, I got a little confused.
So there's
Yeah.
22,000 from the last time that we cut.
Okay.
So we can't touch that, correct, Tim?
Right.
This time, we've
38.
received 38,000 and we can use that. Do we have to have permission from the taxpayers to use it, or is that at our discretion?
That's the 38, I believe, is at our
So I'm a little
discretion.
confused. What's the ballot that you want to ask?
I wanna have a ballot article releasing that 22,000 or whatever the number is.
Oh, once they release it, we can use it.
Right.
I want,
22, because what it would do is overwrite the stipulation that.
Okay, I misunderstood for a second. I thought we could never use that 22. I thought I had to sit there. or something.
no,
We'd have to come up.
I see what you're saying now.
we'd have to come up with the correct language, but I would like to
To add
see,
it,
I'd like to see that $22,000 or whatever it is,
yeah, add it
be
to
able to
38.
be added to the 38 that we have now.
For access, hopefully, in the future.
I'd like to, I guess the ballot article would read to reverse the stipulation that 20, the inch, or whatever. We'd have to come up with the correct verbiage,
Yeah.
but
It's hard to be confused here, but what do we mean by gain access? I mean, is it gonna take that much money to gain access?
well, I don't think so, Bob, but we don't,
We can't use it right now.
right now, we don't have
We
access.
don't have any.
We need a right of way. We're gonna need to put a road in or a path of whatever we choose. And then make a parking area for people to start using the property and go hiking.
Oh, we're talking about just access to the property, not access to get more revenue from woodlands.
No,
No,
no, no,
Oh, all right,
just, right, I'm trying to get access to the property so that
right.
people can use it.
But we need access to the 22,000 that we can't touch
We
right now.
don't need it, Ange, but it would be nice to,
If we could,
It's
sure would make things a little easier,
right.
future,
I would think.
Do you
Do we
understand?
have, I do, do we have the option of using some of this, of a ballot article that gives some of this back to the taxpayers and some of it, and reserve some of it for access?
I think, Bob, once the select board gains access to that $22,000, we could give it all back to the taxpayers.
We don't have access.
But right now, we don't have access to the 22,000.
I'm sorry, what are we doing with the 38,000?
Whatever we want.
Nothing yet.
Nothing
Right,
yet. We
right.
could do whatever we wanted with that too.
So what I'm.
We could give
what I'm-
all that back.
What I'm suggesting, and that's what I'm suggesting.
Oh, I know
is,
where you're going.
38,000 back to the taxpayers and put a ballot article, 22,000 to gain access. Is that reasonable?
No, that's,
that,
it's all reasonable.
That would-
I mean, but on the, right now, what I'm thinking is, what the hell was the select board thinking that they were gonna
I,
$22,000 and they're gonna give the interest to reduce the tax rate?
Well, back in the day, because we're talking 30 years ago, and the interest rates.
Randy, was that you? Was
Higher.
It was a long time ago.
that you? Did you think about that? Was that your idea?
10%.
did
Was
you
that your
actually get
idea?
some money on savings accounts back then?
Well, we're about to be in that position
I
again.
was against cutting wood.
Oh, you're one of those tree huggers?
No, I don't feel that we ought to be going in, cutting firewood and ruining good logs. That was my thought. Mine and his father's. We were the only two that thought that way. But we stopped them from cutting it. Anyway.
So I wanna ask you a quick question, Tim, and this is along Bob's line of thinking right now. if we took off the current budget that we have right now, the way it's absolutely set up, if we took $55,000 and applied it to that, our current budget, the budget that we're working on right now, what would that increase be then? Sorry, I hate to make you keep doing this.
55,000 increase.
It would bring it down to 22% increase. So that's a 7.
That's significant enough to,
Well, and that's where,
Worth considering.
so what what I was doing there,
Should be
Bob.
put where it's needed right now.
Well, that's right. So where I was going with that was the $38,000 that we just received from the logging and the $17,000 extra from the 200,000. That's where I came up with 55,000. Right. Just so everybody knows. That's where I came up with those numbers. So if we took that $55,000 undesignated funds is what it basically is,
Right.
and applied it to this budget right now.
Drop it 7%.
it would, that's significant
That
because
is
we're looking at a significant increase
Yes.
also, and I don't like
Right.
that at all.
Exactly.
And then we could still ask for the 22,000, so we could use that.
Right.
Yep.
And I think we should ask for the 22,000 or at least ask so that the select board or future select boards have access to that money.
So the quick synopsis is, we'll ask the voters to approve 22,000 to gain access to the property. We'll take the 38,000, add the 17,000 that was also,
Undesignated.
undesignated, and give that back to the taxpayers.
Yep, and that would save,
Taxes.
well, I'd reduce it 7%.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
So, and just so we're clear, because we're on camera.
Absolutely.
It will reduce the increase by 7%.
Yes.
Right.
So,
No, that's right. That's
people
right.
know there
That's
is
right.
an increase, and we're trying to limit it.
I'm comfortable with that. I think we need that ballot article so that we can gain, and I don't, Bob, I'm not opposed to earmarking that 22,000, whatever it is,
Right.
towards gaining access to that, to our property down there, the town-owned property.
I think that's a good idea.
7% off of 29, we're down to 22% increase.
Right.
Okay.
That's without.
And that's with putting the 17,000 and
Do we
the,
need a motion to do all that?
Let me do this. I will review the numbers, so you actually see it, and then we can bring it up at the next board meeting whenever.
Oh, and vote on
And then we just have
our next board meeting is Wednesday, correct? Not Thursday?
You guys hadn't decided yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see.
There gonna be a conflict, Megan, if we have the board meeting next Wednesday?
No, there are no other meetings scheduled.
Okay. What's everybody, well,
Well, I already have plans Thursday because I thought we moved it to Wednesday, but
Wednesday's better for me.
Wednesday's definitely better. How about you, Mike?
I'm golden any night.
Oh, my goodness.
next week anyways.
Next week.
No, there's no deer hunting until after that.
Oh, my
There's the
goodness.
holiday season in New York, so I'm good.
Okay.
And that's the regular select meeting.
Yes.
Regular 7:00.
So what day is that? That's Wednesday, what?
22nd.
Yep.
At 7, correct?
I have to go drop my tickets off early.
Okay.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay, excellent.
I'll be there
All right.
unless I'm zooming in
Okay.
like George Jetson.
Another.
Yeah.
Could be George Jetson, but I'll be there.
Okay, are we all set to open up for public comment? Yes? Everybody ready?
I'm good.
So,
Okay. Megan, please open for public comment. Remember to state your full name and
Remember,
raise your hand.
public comment.
Public
Question-
comment.
Not question and answer. Slap you.
There's no one raising their hand.
Oh, come on.
Oh, my goodness.
They're all steamed up.
I move that we, move into executive session for a personnel matter, which is allowed under the state statute, and we will be taking action after the executive session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Be right back. Regular session?
I move to accept with extreme regret.
Should we mention it first? I guess.
That's what-
Yeah, I guess that's.
Yeah. Tim's resignation due to some personal reasons, of his position as the executive assistant, to the town of Pownal effective January 7th.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Sorry, Tim.
Opposed? Nobody, but we really don't want you to go.
I just want to say, Tim, this town is in substantially better shape for the time that you spent here.
Thank you.
We've got a new website. We've got a better office atmosphere. Just a whole slew of things that are just incredible.
He's
I will,
Financial
Yes,
systems and everything.
forward tremendously.
I will also say that, there's no way that the town hall would be where it's at right now without you, Tim. And I mean that wholeheartedly. There is absolutely, we wouldn't be where we're at. There's no doubt about that. And that I feel strongly about that. I've said it numerous times. So, plus the differences that you've made here, but there's no way we would have that building where we're at. Impossible. We've had great people working there for sure, but your guidance and diligence and stuff has been incredible.
So that being said, can I go ahead and make the motion? I'll make a motion that and Rebecca are move forward with the posting of and vetting of candidates for a town administrator position.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
I move that we approve the job description that's going to be posted for a town administrator position.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
With amendments.
With
Where the
amendments
amendments,
that were
yes.
discussed, correct?
Correct,
Sorry.
thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Abstain, or
Opposed.
Right.
opposed? None. Okay.
I move that we adjourn.
Second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.